Hello everyone, welcome to the Jewish Week Online. I'm your host, Arwen Herman. We had the opportunity to speak with Sam Hoffman, creator and director of the web series Old Jews Telling Jokes. Let's take a closer look. Whenever you bring a play to New York, sometimes you're not exactly sure how it's going to play out. You had a very successful web series. Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to bring it to Broadway?
Well, in fact, the play is being produced by a couple of guys named Dan Okrent and Peter Gethers, who Dan Okrent was one of our very first joke tellers, but in our second season, Dan Okrent was one of our joke tellers, and he's an amazingly accomplished guy. He's written 8 books. He invented rotisserie baseball. He's written about Prohibition. He's been an editor at the New York Times, and he loves jokes. So it really was Dan's idea to make it a play. And so he came to us with his partner Peter Gethers and proposed to us that he take the material and make a play out of it. And so that was really the genesis of it becoming a play.
And the web series is awesome. It's like, it's just it's like that Jewishness that just makes you say I'm proud to be a Jew. That's just funny. It's like it goes literally from generation to generation. How did you get it all together?
Well, I mean, the web series has had an interesting path. Its genesis was, my sort of job is I produce movies, and I have a lot of friends in the movie business, and a couple of them were starting an internet content company, and they came to me and said, "Do you have any ideas for internet content?" And I thought, my first thoughts were practical. I want to make something that can be sort of short and funny and fun, but it'll have a little bit of a look and a little bit of a style to it. And I said, well, let's shoot my dad and his friends telling jokes, but let's do it in a way that has some style, and so that it won't look like everything else on the internet. And so we did that. We did a shoot. My father was the casting director. My father, who was a judge for 20 years in New Jersey, a criminal judge, but loves telling jokes and has a lot of cousins and friends who love telling jokes. He put it all together. The casting of the first season took it very seriously, found great joke tellers, including my mother. And we put it online, and it went nuts, And since then, we've done 4 other shoots, including our current one, which was in Boca Raton, which, of course, is the mother lode when it comes to old Jewish humor. And written a book and put it on the BBC, etc. And what's really been interesting for me is that what started kind of as a lark in a way on the internet to see if we could make something interesting on the internet has become like a folklore project. Like, as you say, it's become a way of recording and archiving this particular part of Jewish culture that is not only kind of amazing and very specific to the Jewish culture, and something I think we're all really proud of, is something that has influenced American culture in a great way, but it's also in a lot of ways indicative of a few things that are not going to be around forever. I don't let anybody on the site under 60 years old, and 60 isn't old, but we also have 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds and even 100-year-old. And what it does is it connects these jokes to an earlier time in the Jewish American experience, a time when Jews were either first or second generation here, and when they had parents at home who spoke Yiddish, and the jokes are very infused by the cadence of Yiddish, and a lot of the joke tellers affect the Yiddish accent, and these people, a lot of them grew up with Yiddish accents at home. They know a Yiddish accent in a way that I'll never know a Yiddish accent, And a lot of the jokes are about being first generation or second generation Americans and about the experience of assimilating. A lot of the jokes are about assimilation, And so what started out as kind of a fun little idea to entertain people on the internet has really become a lot more than that. It's really become a very interesting folklore project, which, I hope at some point we're going to have probably the most comprehensive library of these jokes, on the internet, which is kind of cool and important to me. And the other thing is, we're now talking to the BBC about going over to England and shooting Old Jews UK, which will be really interesting because we'll see what does it mean to, what's a Jewish joke in England? What is a Jewish joke that's been sort of forged in the crucible of the English culture? You know, so I'm really proud of that. I'm really excited about it, and I agree with you. I think that these things are and I think a part of the appeal, especially to younger people, is that it's a way to connect to Jewish culture that isn't religious. You know, it's something to be culturally proud of, something to be culturally connected to, a way of saying that's something that's ours and is fun and cool that I can share with my friends.
Did anything surprise you as you were putting together this series? You know, I know whenever you're producing segments, you kind of have a vision for how things are going to play, especially, you know, it's very personal. It's your family that's involved. Did anything come up during your series that you're like, wow, that's really funny, or that's amazing, we wasn't expecting that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there were a couple of things that I kind of knew going in, and there are a couple of things that I've discovered. One of the things that I knew going in was that if I created something that had a particular look to it, that it would pop, you know, and that it would feel different from, you know, there's tons of people telling jokes on YouTube. You know, it's what makes this feel different is that it has a very particular look to it that we created, and Tony Rossi, my cinematographer, you know, makes it beautiful. It always looks the same. One of the things that I didn't realize is that when a 70-year-old or 80-year-old tells a joke, especially someone who's not a professional comedian, tells a joke and gets a laugh, they transform. They become 10 years old again in the schoolyard. I mean, it's the experience of landing a joke and getting a laugh is a very powerful experience to a person. Even, you just see them shed 7 decades of life and of cynicism, like, in an instant when they land a joke, you know. The other thing I didn't realize, but has proven to be true, is that if you get an 80-year-old woman to drop the F-bomb, it's comedy gold on the internet.
Very true. Very true. In terms of this play, what are you hoping for audiences to take away from it?
Well, I mean, I think what's wonderful about the play is that it combines a very fun evening of laughs and a celebration of culture. And what's great about these jokes is, you know, the nostalgia is built into the jokes. You know, you don't have, just as like if you were to go see the Jersey Boys, you know, it doesn't have to have nostalgia like slapped on top of it. All you have to do is hear the songs, and you go to a certain place, you know. And this is the same thing with Old Jews Telling Jokes. You don't need to be. You don't need. All you need to do is hear these jokes properly performed, and Dan and Peter have done such a and the director Mark Bruni have done such a wonderful job of staging it simply and elegantly, that all you have to do is hear these jokes, and suddenly, you know, you go somewhere. Because you connect to these things. There are a currency, you know, that brings you to your youth, or the first time you heard it, or the Seder when you were 10, or you know, they have a powerful resonance.
Can you tell us your favorite Jewish joke?
Yes, my favorite Jewish joke, which actually is in the play, goes like this: a German, a Frenchman, and a Jew are walking through the desert. It's very hot, and they're dry and arid. And the German says, "Ah, I'm so hot. I'm so thirsty. I must have a beer." And the Frenchman says, "Oi, I'm so hot. I'm so thirsty. I must have some wine." And the Jew says, "Oi, I'm so hot. I'm so thirsty. I must have diabetes."
That works. That's great.
I like that joke because it's about Jews. You know, it's about the way we think about things. And
that's true. Where can people learn more about your web series and the play?
Well, for our website, just go to oldjewstellingjokes.com, and there's a new joke Monday through Thursday, and our best repeats on Friday. And we will soon have an app that will deliver a joke a day to your iPad or iPhone, ad-free, for those of you who can't bear to sit through the ads. And for the website, for the play, either go to our site and click on the banner ad, which will take you to the Plays site. I think it's All Jews Telling Jokes on Stage, but I'm not positive. Yes, it's ojtjonstage.com, actually. Mm-hmm. There it is. Nice. ojtjonstage.com. And if I could make a pitch for my movie also while we're here, Moonrise Kingdom, which I produced for Wes Anderson last year, is opening this month. It's opening the Cannes Film Festival in May, and then it's going to open in New York and other major cities coming soon. In May this month, before Memorial Day.
What motivated you to go into the business?
I didn't want to be a lawyer.
That's a joke.
Kind of. No, I mean, honestly, I was when I was a senior in college, I took a class in film production, and it was the first time in 16 years of school that I ever could stay up all night doing my homework and not notice the night passing. And I thought to myself, wow, this is, maybe I should pursue this. I seem to like it, you know?
You gotta follow your passion.
Yeah, I think so. And I deferred law school, and, you know, I started doing it. And, you know, before long I was working on softcore porn movies in Queens.
You know what? Sometimes you just got to go with your gut.
Hey, you got to start somewhere. The funny thing is my dad, who I mentioned was a judge, and he was very skeptical about me deferring law school. You know, I'd gotten into a good law school, and he said, you know, I don't know about you doing this. Let's give it a year. You know, let's give it a year. And I said, okay. And I got into a program at NYU, which I went to for a semester. And then I was working on these softcore porn movies in Queens. And my dad was like, yeah, I think this career is going to work out just fine.
It's only a Jewish father and mother be like, you know what? Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Well, my mother not so much, but my dad thought, no, when can I visit the set?
That's great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure.
As you can see, Old Jews Telling Jokes is a fantastic way for people to connect to their Jewish identity. This is Oren Herman, and thanks for watching.